Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for waiting. Now I would like to announce the opening of International Women's Conference WAW 2016. This is going to be the public forum. I would like to function as a moderator today. My name is Maoko Kotani. Thank you very much for this opportunity today. Thank you very much for the warm applause. A society where women can shine. We would like to create this in Japan and also to the rest of the world. Under this objective, Japan government in 2014 have organized this initial WAW conference. This WAW would be the third round. And now I think we are waiting for the arrival of our Prime Minister. We believe he is very close by. So I wonder which entrance he will be utilizing. So if you'd be kind enough to wait a few more minutes, please. Thank you. Now we have the presence of our Prime Minister. Please welcome our Prime Minister with a warm round of applause, please. Upon the opening of the event, I would like to invite Mr. Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister of Japan, to extend the word of greetings. So with that, Prime Minister, please. Hello, everyone, and I would like to extend my warm and also welcome to WAW and to Tokyo. Normally, it is held at the end of August. WAW is held at the end of August, but because of the Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TCAD, was scheduled late August, now we have WAW held at this time of the year. Well, in Japan, towards the end of the year, we have holiday sales. WAW in December, this is limited only for this year. So for the overseas participant, delegations from overseas, this is the only opportunity for you to do a lot of high-quality shopping with a value of money price. I hope you will be able to bring back home for your own souvenir and for your family and for your loved one as well. Well, it seems as though that I have an unquenchable appetite for marketing Japan's superb product. But now I would like to talk about promoting womenomics. Now, WAW for Action is the theme of this year, and we would convene our third WAW conference. We would change our way of thinking through our actions. I aim to create a society in which people from all walks of life and in all situations overcome various limitations to live and flourish in a way that benefit for each person as an individual. At this year's WAW conference, there are three areas I would like to highlight, particular, namely reform work styles, leadership of women, and building a peaceful and safe society with women playing key roles. These are the three themes. The difficulty in continuing work after giving birth to a child is a major obstacle hindering women's activities. We would create an environment in which women can be fully active, pursuing their goal for both work and family without undue hardship. The biggest and indeed the highest priority challenge for us in bringing this about is reforming our way of working. I would spearhead these reforms as we press forward. We will formulate an action plan for this no later than this coming March. These will be a quite challenging reform for industry. But present here today, Mr. Sakakibara, Chairman of Japan Business Federation Kendaren, who joined us here today, is a true friend of women, and he's nodding very bigly, so I tend to push forward these reforms with his strong cooperation. First of all, we must rectify the practice of long working hours. Although this problem is rooted in our corporate culture and our lifestyle, we will be tackling it head-on. We will compile effective measures, including ceilings on allowable overtime work, and submit related bills to the national diet at an early date. We will also close unjustifiable gaps that exist between regular and non-regular employees. In Japan, the majority of working women are non-regular employees. Their wages are some 40% lower than their regularly employed colleagues. We would make, therefore, an equal pay for equal work a reality. While rectifying the wage disparity is a must, we will also overcome differences in treatment, including employee benefit packages and training opportunities. This month, we would indicate a concrete terms the kind of wage differences and differences in treatment that are unreasonable are the kind of disparity that are allowable through a draft set of guidelines and submit related bills to the Diet at an early date. We must also introduce incentives for companies to review their way of working. Starting this fiscal year, when we evaluate them for procurement contract from the national government, we are awarding additional points to companies that promote work-life balance. This system is applicable to projects totaling roughly 5 trillion yen in scale. We look forward to this same kind of structure spreading to procurement arrangement conducted by incorporated administrative agency, local public authorities. We will strengthen the support we provide so that women can continue working even after birth of a child. In 2014, we already raised the rate of birth care leave benefits for the first 6 months after the leave begins from 50% to 67% wage received to the previous leave. And in 2030, in order to accelerate preparation of childcare arrangement, we set a target of securing childcare arrangement for additional 400,000 children by the end of fiscal 2017. Last year, we increased this, making slot for 500,000 children our new role. The percentage of women in their child-rearing years who are in the workforce has increased at an accelerated pace, reaching roughly 72% in 2015. As a result, a further increase in application of childcare facility, we will pay careful and detailed attention to the situation found in each local area. Moreover, to encourage childcare providers to continue their work with greater motivation to advance their careers for employees, we have accumulated skills and experience. We will eliminate the wage gap that exists between them and the female workers in industry overall. Some women leave the workforce to focus on rearing child, but wants to come back to the workforce after their child has grown up. They have blank period in their careers and often cannot find employment as a regular worker. We would help women in this situation undergo recurrent education, so receiving support for their re-entry into the workforce. In doing so, we will make it easier for these women to choose job that matches their particular stage in life. For example, we will make it possible for them to receive financial support for up to 70% of the tuition cost of specialty education courses that lead directly to acquiring skills during the workplace. This will be available to them up to 10 years after they leave the workforce. We will also provide assistance in securing childcare arrangement during their training and create a system providing information to university regarding job opening compatible with child rearing. Also, teleworking is an effective way to enable people to continue work while raising children. We will revise the guideline for teleworking, which until now have been limited to cases of telecommunication from home. To match the current situation in which mobile devices permeate society, we will also compile means of controlling working hours in order to avoid giving rise to long working hours. The other segment is reform to our ways of working will not succeed without changes to men's way of thinking. Couples should share responsibility for household chores. So in addition to childcare leave for men, we will recommend that men take parental leave right after wives give birth so that husbands can participate fully in raising their children immediately after birth. We must lead by example. I would like all national civil servants whose wives have given birth to take parentality leave for several days while their wives are taking maternity leave. Thank you. Well, the Japanese men who are notorious, I am not that case, but for notorious Japanese men not doing housework, it is a chance to restore their reputation. Data shows that companies with at least one female executive officer have a 20% less chance of going bankrupt than companies with executives that are exclusively male. I often quote this number, but if Lehman Brothers had been Lehman Brothers and sisters, they still might be around without going bankrupt. UN Women selected me as one of 10 heads of state and government. I am very honored, but I think the responsibilities are tremendous. Ms. Murado Nuka, Executive Director of UN Women, we would like to move forward in involving other male leaders in this movement. 2.5 years ago, 9 male leaders have been actively supporting greater engagement by women, came together at Prime Minister's office and released the so-called Declaration of Action. It has been most encouraging to see 136 male leaders now agreeing with this effort. And I feel very strong about this. I would like women to have the opportunity to hone their abilities to increase their chances of being appointed as leaders. This January, with Harvard Business School professors, we like to align together in order to offer training program for women who are candidates for executive positions. I look forward to this day. I hope it becomes as soon as possible. I hope there will be a lot of Japanese women who will follow Miss Marie Revan, the COO from Instagram. I hope this day will come. I want women to be increasingly engaged in science and engineering-related fields as well. Although at present, women accounts for roughly 29% of researchers worldwide, while the proportion is roughly only 15% in Japan. In this area, innovation will rise through women's approach and ideas. At G7 Iseshima Summit, G7 leaders, sharing this conviction, decided to provide opportunity for young women considering their career path to interact with women who have gone through them and are now active in STEM field. Well, earlier today, this morning, WIN's special event has been held. The next generation women will be stimulated by this role model, and we hope that they will be able to follow their footsteps. 2020, the Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic Games. Some women's active engagement in sports is something that the government also will be supporting. Today, Ms. Kaori Icho, Ms. Hiromi Miyake, Ms. Sae Tsuji, Ms. Mayumi Narita will be joining us, the 4 Paralympians and Paralympians. We have had the honor of them being presented here with us today. And also a video message from Ms. Homare Sawa, a former captain of the Japanese national soccer team. Japan, women's participation in leadership in politics is something that we also want to pursue. Here with us today, Ms. Yuriko Koike, the governor of Tokyo. And other day, I had a chance to talk with Ms. Aung San Suu Kyi, State Councilor of Myanmar, have each been the first to break through glass ceiling both in Japan and Myanmar. Well, in terms of Ms. Koike, Governor of Tokyo, has also break the ceiling of our own party, but I would like to congratulate her for winning the gubernatorial election. Well, I don't know how should I interpret this applause. I feel very complex, but I think women, a new leader that has emerged, has a strong influence to the rest of the world. Well, in terms of the House of Councillors, the women through the election held this past July, it is highest, being 21%. And the Abe Administration has appointed many women in key ministerial posts. And I hope this momentum will be growing down the road, going forward. When conflict arises, women are exposed to major risks. Vulnerable women are most likely to be ignored. And there are cases where heart-rending cries from women are regarded as low priority simply because they came from a woman. And that is a reality. Violence towards women, especially the fear of sexual violence in conflict, is beyond description. And it would be absolutely unacceptable for the international community to avert its eyes from its reality. By including the perspective of women in times of conflict, we would tremendously improve the responses provided by the international community. Ms. Mariette Schuurman, NATO's Secretary General Special Representative for Women, Peace and Security, I hope will also agree with me. Here, I would like to introduce a woman to this group today. Her name is Ms. Hiroko Hirahara. She is serving as a head of field office for United Nations mission in the Republic of South Sudan, where the situation had been getting increasingly severe. Ms. Hirahara protects displaced persons and conveys to the local women the importance of peace building across ethnic and regional lines. It is precisely because women such as Ms. Hirahara are serving as role model by protecting women and taking the initiative to promote dialogue between different ethnic groups on the forefront of the line that the women of South Sudan can also make their voices being heard and share their statement and opinions. I think for the international community, for the local community, I intend to increase further the number of human resources just like her. In the area of disaster prevention, UN World Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction held in March 2015, Japan highlighted the perspective of women. The Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, adopted at the conference as the framework for action until 2030, is the first time the importance of leadership by women has been clearly laid out. Last month, alongside with the commemoration of the World Tsunami Awareness Day, Japan conducted disaster risk reduction-related leadership training for women in cooperation with the United Nations. Japan will propel the international community forward through its concrete contribution in this field as well. Ensuring maternal and child health is another crucial topic directly impacting human life. Some lives enter this world amidst conflicts and disasters and other extreme situations for people who have been hurt and suffering amid various hardships. These new lives are the true embodiment of hope itself. We must protect the health of mother and provide adequate nutrition for the newborn child. Under these harsh conditions, the international community must unite in efforts to foster hope for the future and weave a future for them. This year, as chair of the G7 Iseshima Summit, I compile the G7 guiding principle for capacity building of women and girls. Furthermore, we looked up the topic of women at all of the G7 ministerial meetings, at first in the history of G7. My passion and commitment will remain as strong as ever. I would like to take this opportunity to announce that until 2018, Japan will move forward steadily to implement efforts that will total more than approximately $3 billion, and would like to pursue this effort, and I would like to make this declaration given this opportunity today. WAW for action. Here in Tokyo, we will gather the wisdom of all of you who are taking action on your own initiative in every corner of the world. We will transform this concentrated wisdom into action. Let us learn from each other, act together, and change the world as we move forward so that we can bring about a society where women can shine in Japan and in each of our own countries and your countries as well. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Prime Minister Abe, thank you very much. Prime Minister Abe has been instrumental under the theme of this seminar, this session, that women are key to the growth strategy of this country. Prime Minister Abe, it will take time, the strategy will take time, but it is clear that Prime Minister is all for specific concrete actions. So let us now move to the keynote presentation. We welcome Ms. Marnie Levine, Chief Operating Officer of Instagram. Ms. Levine, the CEO, in 2015 became the first COO, as a first woman to become a COO of Instagram, and supervising advertising activities, public policy, human resource, among others, at Instagram to expand the scale of its business. Prior to Instagram, Ms. Levine was with Facebook as Vice President of Global Public Policy. During the Obama administration, she was a Chief of Staff for the National Economic Council and Special Assistant. She served as a Special Assistant to the President for Economic Policy. Ms. Levine.
Konnichiwa. Thank you so much. It's a great honor to be here and to be part of this year's World Assembly for Women. I want to give a special thank you to Prime Minister Abe for your incredible leadership and for inviting me to join you today. Let me just ask, show of hands, how many of you use Instagram? Okay, that's great, but for the rest of you, what are you waiting for? Instagram is a technology company built on visual communication. So it's particularly wonderful to be back here because Japan hasn't just helped to shape the world's technology landscape. It's also home to one of the world's most influential visual cultures. From calligraphy and architecture to anime and game design, Japanese aesthetics are instantly recognizable, and they've changed the way that we see the world. Last year, Instagram's engineers decided to look into a phenomenon that started right here in Japan, the emoji. They used artificial intelligence to look at how hearts, smiley faces, and hand claps were used on Instagram. And what they found is that emoji were used across the world. In some countries, they were even used in more than half of all social media posts. And here is what is so interesting. The most popular emoji were universally understood, and even the less obvious ones transcended language, borders, and cultures. Seriously, emoji are taking over the world. At our headquarters in Menlo Park, California, we have an entire floor where the rooms are all named after different emojis. So thank you, Japan. It really is a rare privilege to watch a new language being born. And it's hard to think of a better example of how Japan's unique visual and technical cultures come together and capture something that is universally human. When I was growing up, I felt like Japan was this place where it was already in the future. From the Walkman to the Shinkansen, I thought of Japan and innovation as one and the same. It was the definition of a high-tech economy, a society that was constantly inventing, refining, and eager to embrace new things. And it still is. That desire to forge a path, to be the leading light, is more important now than ever, because our economies are undergoing some pretty profound changes. We're in the middle of the most sustained increase in life expectancy in human history. We're urbanizing faster and communicating more than ever. We're more connected as countries and as individuals. And technology is creating whole new industries at a pace and scale that we've never seen before. These changes are opening up incredible opportunities for people and driving economic progress for nations. It's a brave new world, but we're here today because it's still a man's world. We know that empowering women leads to better decision-making and better results. We know that when women control household spending, they invest more in their families. When they hold top management positions, profits rise. And when they work in R&D, companies are more innovative. And yet, the female participation rate in the global economy is 52%. That's only 2% higher than it was when I started college. And that was a long, long time ago. Women are still underrepresented in almost every industry, at almost every level, and in almost every country. We just aren't moving far enough or fast enough. For a long time, we've been focusing on changing deeply embedded structures that prevent women from rising in the workforce and getting to the top. That work is essential. Progress absolutely means change from the top down. We badly need more women in the staterooms and boardrooms where power is still concentrated, but that alone is not enough. We need change at all levels. We need to do more to get women to stay in the workforce, to re-enter the workforce, or to join the workforce in new ways. And that's why Prime Minister Abe launched his Womenomics plan. Prime Minister Abe recognizes that for Japan to shine, all women in Japan must shine. And that's why we're here today. Today, we share our experiences in the hopes that together we can create something greater than the sum of our parts, that by bringing our collective knowledge into a single point of focus, we can unlock greater opportunities for women and equip our economies for the future and not let inertia leave them in the past. In that spirit, I want to share 3 trends that show how technology can help increase women's participation in the workforce and help us build more inclusive, more productive, and more innovative economies. The first trend is that work is changing. A few weeks ago, I traveled to Boston on a business trip, and I decided to bring along my 11-year-old son. He sat with me for an interview with a college newspaper, and at the end, the reporter turned to him and asked him a question. "What's your favorite part of your mom's job?" I had no idea what he was going to say, because with an 11-year-old, you never know. And to be honest, I was scared. But without hesitation, and to my surprise and delight, he said, "I like that she's home more than she used to be when she worked in Washington." My son was talking about 2009, at the beginning of the Obama administration, when I was working on economic policy at the White House. It was a dream job, but one that meant being in the office, well, nearly all the time. This was partly because of the nature of the work itself, but it was also partly about the technology. Our computers were so outdated that it was just easier to work in the office. After several months of barely seeing my family, I finally mustered up the courage to tell my boss that if he didn't help us get modern laptops and equipment that we could use to work from home, half of his staff was going to get divorced. Today, most of us carry incredible computers with us wherever we go. That means the way we work is changing too. It's becoming more fluid, more connected, more mobile. For many people, the idea of being physically present in an office for a set number of hours is fading. For many jobs, the most important thing you need is a Wi-Fi connection. Being unchained from an office is one of the biggest changes in work since the invention of the modern production line. And if we get this right, this flexibility can be hugely positive for women. Around the world, fixed working hours are one of the biggest barriers to women's workforce participation. Here in Japan, about 60% of mothers leave work after giving birth, a number that has not moved in more than 30 years. Kathy Matsui, Japan's strategist at Goldman Sachs, has written in her work on womenomics that Japanese women who off-ramp after giving birth aren't just worried about childcare availability and wage gaps. For many, it's inflexible working hours and a lack of support for working mothers that discourages them. To get women back in the door, more companies should adopt the kind of flexible work arrangements that technology makes possible. They can also invest in re-entry programs. Many women want to return to work after having children, but there are few support mechanisms to help them. Making it easier to stay in the workforce and easier to rejoin is critical. And companies need to embrace the technology that allows us to work remotely at times and in ways that fit better with our lives, and to embrace the new tools that make it easier to collaborate, to access resources, to share information and build communities outside of existing hierarchies. Because these technologies and tools can drive real progress for women, but also for companies and institutions too. What my son probably does not realize is that I still work similar hours today than when I worked in government, but I'm working differently. I'm working in the morning before he and his brother go to school, and I'm finishing up odds and ends in the evening from our kitchen. If one of my sons is sick, I can spend the morning working from home so that I can check in on him. I have a newfound flexibility, and it makes the whole thing work better for me and for my family. And in turn, I'm happier at work. Businesses and institutions today have an opportunity and a responsibility to make work work for women, to change the culture of their organizations, to focus on working smart over working long, to favor contributions and results over face time, to embrace the changes in the modern workplace and use the tools and technology that allow people to work flexibly and work fast. And the costs are high for those that fail to do so. Because you see, the second trend is that careers are changing too, which means that talented people have more options now than ever. And what I hope we all can do is help more women understand that. When I was in college, I could not have drawn a straight line to the COO of Instagram even if I wanted to. You can't design a career path for a destination that hasn't been invented yet. And for context, when I graduated from college, the co-founders of Instagram were barely out of diapers. Instead, I spent most of my early career working in government. I went into public service because I wanted to change things for the better. I wanted to help create the jobs, growth, and conditions that would improve people's lives. And I thought that the best way to do that was from government. So when I was offered the opportunity to move to a social networking company that most people hadn't heard of at the time, called Facebook, I didn't entertain the idea for very long. I had decided that long ago I had no interest in doing policy for a company. After all, what better place to do policy than from the White House? But I was overlooking something important. Over the course of the past decade, what it meant to do policy for a company like Facebook had changed. It now meant working on issues at the intersection of technology and jobs, privacy, health, and human rights. It took a long conversation with my husband before I realized that what I was really suffering from was a failure of imagination. It was one of the few times where I admitted that my husband was right, and he loves to remind me of it as much as possible. Once I really started to think about the possibilities rather than prescribed roles, the whole calculation changed. Saying yes to Facebook meant embracing all sorts of change, a new role, a new environment, a new concept of what I thought my career would look like. That was a new experience for me, but it's much more common than I realized. Today, lifelong allegiance to one company, one industry, one role is less important than it used to be. To keep up, we need to reimagine what a career can be. Many people today see work as a series of experiences. Choose your own adventure, not follow this path. And that's hard. Modern career paths offer so much opportunity for women, but taking those opportunities often means taking risks. Whether you're switching jobs or re-entering the workforce, doing something new is hard for everyone, and research shows that it's especially hard for women. I know, it was hard for me. We take fewer chances, and as a result, we often miss out on opportunities, especially those that require us to design our own path. The good news is that technology can help. 2 years ago, a woman from Japan named Atsuko Kikuchi started illustrating in her spare time. She worked an office job during the day, but on nights and weekends, she would pick up her pens and she would draw. As she started posting those illustrations to Instagram. 10 months later, she was contacted by a publishing company that had seen her work on Instagram. In February 2015, they published her first book. Her success as an illustrator gave her the freedom to leave her job and start a new career as a freelance artist. Atsuko wasn't trying to start a business, but thanks to technology, she was able to turn her passion into her livelihood. She explained to us that in her 20s, she was told that she had to visit every magazine and design company with a portfolio if she wanted to become an illustrator. It was revolutionary to her that she was able to achieve her dream without doing any of that. Atsuko's story shows us that technology can unlock options for women regardless of where they are in their career journey. And it's happening organically, naturally, and more often than we think. For me, it's a powerful reminder that each of us can embrace change to build the most fulfilling careers for ourselves and help those around us do the same. Sometimes it might lead to a new industry, like it did for me. Sometimes it may just mean reimagining your role at a company you're already in. And sometimes it might mean starting something completely new. That brings me to the third trend, which is that technology is making entrepreneurship more accessible than ever. Around the world, small and medium-sized businesses account for the lion's share of employment and economic activity. From the busiest street vendor to the hottest startup, each of these businesses started as an idea and grew into something special. And for many women, this is one of the best pathways into the workforce, one that provides a measure of independence and control, the ability to work on your own terms. But it's also one that comes with extra challenges. It's harder for women to access capital, to find mentors and support, to balance the demands of a new business against the work in the home that women still do more of. In every country, women still lag behind when it comes to starting and running businesses. In the US, around 10% of women are entrepreneurs. In Europe, it's 5%, and here in Japan, it's 2%. That means our economies are losing out on ideas, passions, and products from half the population. We're letting one of our most potent forces in any economy slip between our fingers. It's the hidden price of gender imbalance, the opportunity cost of inequality. But technology is changing the equation. It's democratizing opportunity, giving people around the world the power to tell their story and a chance to contribute to the economy on their own terms. And I believe that technology can help us get to a more equal world. Because when your marketing, advertising, and customer service can be done in one app, when your sales, accounts, and payments can be managed in one device, everything changes. Now, if only I could manage my children this way. You get to work where you want, when you want, because everything you need to run your business is in your pocket. And that gives you a measure of freedom you might not otherwise have. One of the most powerful examples I've heard is Hala al-Hamrani. Hala is a 39-year-old Saudi woman who wanted to train as a boxer. She started an Instagram account to document her journey, and she called it Fight Like a Girl Boxing. And as her following grew, people started to reach out for lessons, and she built a business. She's now Saudi Arabia's only female boxing trainer. Hala's story is part of a larger trend in Saudi Arabia. Today, there are more than 4,000 Instagram-based businesses in the capital city of Riyadh alone, and almost all are owned by women. In fact, there are so many women-owned Instagram businesses that the Ministry of Labor is looking at how to measure the earnings so that they can be included in the GDP figures. In Saudi Arabia, where women are not permitted to drive and often need the intervention of a male guardian, women are turning to the internet to start businesses, gain market share, and overcome limitations. If women can do it there, we can do it anywhere. With technology, you can cut through the pre-existing barriers that have stopped so many women from starting a business. And no matter where you are in the world, one of the most common is access to funding. Studies have shown that men get far more venture capital than women, to the tune of 12-1. Not so long ago, your chances of starting a business depended on the decisions of a handful of investors, often men. But today, because of technology, it's possible for anyone to pitch a business plan to the masses through crowdfunding, harnessing the power of the crowd to get their idea off the ground. On a recent trip to Australia, I met a woman named Elena Antonou. She wanted to start an eco-friendly underwear company. Now, I know you probably weren't expecting me to come here today and talk about underwear, but stay with me. Elena's only problem was that she didn't know where to turn for funding. She and her co-founder started a crowdfunding campaign hoping to raise $30,000 to finance their first few products. Their campaign was so successful that her company, Mighty Good Undies, now sells globally and employs 8 people. They are proud to have started a company and to be changing the world, as she says, one knicker at a time. That same entrepreneurial energy is bubbling up here too. In 2011, Japanese crowdfunding platform Ready for Ink raised money for 40 products. But in 2015, they raised money for almost 2,000. Women are raising funds for businesses ranging from medical devices to solar-powered dairy farms, all ideas that came from their own experiences, from their own daily lives. Because today, a woman with a smartphone and an internet connection can access the information, support, markets, and even capital she needs to turn an idea into a business. And she can do it on her own time and on her own terms. And every yen she earns, product she makes, and job she creates is additive. And that matters. Because in many countries, there's this argument that says equality comes at the expense of men who used to be guaranteed job security and status. What technology does is flips that equation on its head. Instead of women simply taking up a greater share of existing jobs, they're also creating jobs that weren't there before, and not just for themselves, also for men. It's additive, not zero-sum. And it shows that men don't have to fall for women to rise. That's what I mean when I talk about democratizing opportunity. It's creating pathways for women who may not have felt like they had a place in the formal economy, but now have options that are open to them. One of the best things about my job, by far, is that I get to travel and meet people who use technology to create something special. And I am blown away by the women who put their energy and their passion into creating businesses and organizations. Women who didn't think they were starting a career, but had an interest or found a community. Women who might not have even thought of themselves as entrepreneurs and now use technology to access opportunities that otherwise would have been closed off to them. And women who are using tools we have available to all of us to empower themselves and their communities. I want to finish on that thought, empowerment. In today's world, power is not just about the corner office, the C-suite, the CEO. It is the ability to choose your path, to have options, to look to a point on the horizon and say, I can go there if I want. Power isn't just about reaching up. It's about reaching out, it's about reaching down and seeing who you can bring along. And technology, more than anything that I have seen before, is helping empower women around the world by helping them find options they previously never would have had. It's changing the nature of work and the meaning of careers. It's breaking down barriers of entry into the economy and helping more women take that critical first step down a new path. And it's helping us build more inclusive, more productive, and more innovative economies. So although we have a very long way to go towards full equality, I am optimistic. I'm optimistic because I have seen what these changes can mean for women around the world. Women like Atsuko in Japan, and Hala in Saudi Arabia, and Elena in Australia. We're incredibly lucky to live at a time when technology is turning opportunity from an abstract noun into something people see and feel in their daily lives. We don't have to wait for progress to come. We have the means and the tools to create options for ourselves and for others right now. It's up to all of us to use them, whether you are part of a big company or a startup, whether you work in business or you work in government, or whether you are a woman or you are a man. We can all embrace the tools and technology that will help us all rise up together. So let's go do it. Thank you.
Can I ask you one thing? What was the way that you were taking picture through the Instagram apps last night? What did you call that thing?
Boomerang.
Boomerang.
Yes, boomerang.
インスタグラムで今非常に流行っているのがブーメランというのだそうで。Did you do R&D for that?
Is it our R&D?
Yes.
Yes, it's our R&D. But we share it with everybody, and you can download it on your phones now, and it takes ordinary moments and turns them into extraordinary moments.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, followingly, we'd like to invite Mr. Sadayuki Sakakibara, Chairman of Japan Business Federation, K.M. Well, Chairman Mr. Sakakibara had joined Toray in 1967. In 2002, he inaugurated as a president, and in 2010 as a chairman. And in 2015, he's a chief senior advisor, chief senior counselor of Toray industry. And also, he has been appointed as a chairman of 2014 as of Keidan Japan Business Federation. And he is a leading figure in Japanese business community. So with that, Mr. Sakakibara, please welcome Mr. Sakakibara with a big round of applause. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Sakakibara from Keidanen, Japan Business Federation. Upon the opening of this International Women's Conference WAW 2016, with the gradual opening, I would like to extend my sincere congratulatory remarks to all of you. Well, Japan, in promoting the women to shine and take active role in society, in the recent 3 years, the society and the perception of the general public have changed. In the past 3 years, we have a ramping up increase of the employment rate that exceeds that of the United States. Well, Prime Minister Abe had advocated the empowerment of women as a very strong growth strategy, and with his very strong leadership, creating where all women in society would shine. And this is one of the fruit that he has bared with us, and I have the deepest esteem to his effort. At the same time, the business community, on our behalf, the women empowerment for the enterprises to win over a global competition, it is one of the most important corporate strategies. So we would like to work as one with the government in pursuing this goal. At Keidanren in 2014, we have compiled a Women Empowerment Action Plan, and we are now extending various activities related to this plan in making sure that it's a feasible and also implementable plan in order to empower women. We will need to change the culture of a company, at the same time the perception of the employee as well. In order to do so, the management and managerial staff need to spearhead this effort and lead this effort strongly. At Keidanren, all member corporate top executive, we have asked for taking place and the promotion of a women executive on a voluntary role. And already has been 2 years since this plan has been implemented. Already 600 member companies are now attaining their goal and establishing specific tangible schedule in order to empower women, and this has been done. And many of the companies have been quite ambitious in setting up their goal, and we have been very strongly encouraged by this effort. So in the corporation enterprise, we are seeing a new emergence of women executive. In order to support them, we have a Keidanren Women Network that we have established in our federation. So exceeding verticals and industry, we have a global network in order to support this move. At the same time, each of the companies, there are a lot of their own unique development, and there are some of them are very unique and very advanced in terms of the program that they have. So at Keidanren, in order to compile all these case studies, we established a special booklet. This is a booklet which we have distributed to you. It's a very beautiful pink color, and it is unlike Keidanren, as we have been criticized, but it's very pretty in terms of the finish of this brochures. As you can see, the hidden gems in your place. There are hidden jewels or gems in your workplaces. So you need to leverage them. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of waste, is what we are trying to advocate through this effort. So this case study booklet, if you flip through these pages, is self-explanatory to the fact that women empowerment is not only looking into women alone. This will not enable this program. It is men that will also share the various responsibility, meaning domestic house chores and nursing, and also child rearing as well. I must say that on my personal note, I have a wife who's working, and we have 3 daughters that we have raised together with my wife. Now, in a buzzword, it is child rearing men, ikumen, or house chore men, kajimen. Of course, I'm willing to do cleaning and changing diapers for 3, of course, daughters when they were small babies, and also vacuuming the house. Well, recently, about 80% of the men are very much willing to share child rearing and house chores. Very positive. So I think the perception of men are for sure changing. And now we, in Japan, notorious Japanese men will be able to regain their reward once again and reputation once again. Well, regardless of gender, there are a lot of work style and lifestyles that have permeated around the society. And many of us being creative, we will be able to bring about innovation within diversity. So enterprise and the society, we will need to be able to realize the production efficiency and improvement. In a true sense, Japan, we are now seeing an evolution of the diversity community in society, and we need to embrace this. And we are at the turning point whether or not we will be able to realize this diversity community. We need to ourselves change our approach. As Prime Minister Abe said that there are restriction of long hours or maybe innovating new work styles. There are very strong declaration that has been made by a Prime Minister. So in terms of economic dimension, these Prime Minister Abe's strategy need to be pursued very strongly. Changing the working style and realizing these the top executive need to hoist the flag. So the overall organization will make its transformation. The significance of this need to be continuously being communicated, so the best practice of the enterprises should be shared on a nationwide basis, and in order to promote this momentum of the transformation that is about to take place. In realizing this diversity in society, I hope this symposium will bring about a lot of fruits and concrete solutions. With that, I would like to conclude my remarks. Thank you very much. Mr. Sakakibara, do you also do house chores as well? Yes, I do house chores, but I do not change diapers anymore. So what do you do specifically at home? I wash dishes. I love washing dishes. And all my work, I forget about all the problems and headaches, and it's a changing mood. And my wife is watching TV while I'm washing the dishes. Okay, thank you very much for a wonderful comment. Thank you. And now, thank you very much, Mr. Sakakibara. And now, Mr. Abe will be leaving, so if you be able to, please kindly be seated and see Prime Minister recede from this venue with a big round of applause, please. Thank you. And now, I would like to have the honor of inviting Ms. Yuriko Koike, Governor of Tokyo, for greetings. In 1992, he's a member of the parliament. She had taken a vital role in the field of politics. In 2016, she has been the first woman to be appointed as a governor of Tokyo. So she's under a spotlight and limelight at the moment. So with that, Ms. Koike, the governor of Tokyo, please. Please welcome Ms. Koike, the governor of Tokyo, with a big round of applause, please.
Ladies, and some gentlemen.
Hello, thank you very much. My name is Yuko Koike, the governor of Tokyo. Thank you very much for the warm welcome. Now, we have seen various delegation from around the world and from Japan, many top leaders and wisdom leaders here gathered together at this occasion. And in terms of the various aspects of shining women in society, there are a lot of discussion that has been held. International Women's Conference, WAW 2016, thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to you today. I am very honored to be here with you this afternoon. Well, recently in various meetings, I have been having the opportunity to attend a various meeting. But today's meeting is very colorful, very flamboyant. With all many of you as women, I think this venue itself is showing its true diversity and true full colors. So many of the Japanese meetings and conferences are very gray, like rat. I'm quite famous for talk of rats recently. So as much as possible, I would like to make my world colorful, and that I think it will lead to dynamism of my life and also for Tokyo as well. And I have a very strong conviction to that end. And today we have the Ms. Mari from Instagram COO here with us.
Thank you, Marnie, because I used Instagram quite a lot during my gubernatorial election, and I won. Thank you so much.
And now, changing note. Well, Tokyo, I have been aiming for achieving the three city. One of them is diversity. So in the past, in the Democratic Party of Japan, we talked about diversity, and some of the male members have asked, where is that location? Is it close to a Daiba, which is a name and place of Japan? And I was very discouraged. Well, in terms of the diversity that I am advocating, obviously, it goes without saying, men's, female, children, and senior citizens, and also those with disability. They have a lively and vibrant way of living in taking active role in self-realization. So this is the Tokyo that I'm aiming for. Tokyo has a population of 13 million people. It's one of the world's largest metropolis. Within Tokyo's gross production, it's on par with the gross domestic product, GDP, of Korea and Mexico. It's quite a big scale of the city. But with yet, have we utilized the capability of women to its full? To this question, unfortunately not. We have not harnessed the capability of women yet. This is a number that I always have on my mind. Around the world, this is a gender gap. It's a World Economic Forum survey result. In Japan, in terms of universe of 144 countries subject to this survey, we were 104th last year, and before that, 101, I think. And it was trying hard to go up the ladder, but now the recent number is 111th. So we have been advocated with the Prime Minister hoisting his flag, and Mr. Sakakibara is washing dishes, and the members and chairman of the Keidanren and the Business Federation doing our utmost, but unfortunately the ranking has gone down. Well, I must say that Japan, I don't say that we're not exerting our effort. Yes, we are exerting effort, but still yet, the other countries are doing even more than Japan. So that I think the true fact of the matter. So I think that for that, we need to be able to have stronger conviction so that Tokyo and Japan should be more vital and not mediocre, but it's very keen policies and strategies needs to be implemented in order to attain this goal. Well, at this gubernatorial election, I have been able to given this vote of 2.91 million vote, and I'm not in belief of doing something mediocre. I want to do something to its utmost best effort, and that is utilizing women's capability as to its full extent. Well, as I've said, while World Business Satellite, Miss Komiya, I was the first anchor woman. Please do not forget. Yes, a big senior of mine. The first anchor woman was Miss Koike for this. I'm the fourth in generation an anchor woman for this program. When I was an anchor woman, it was 26,000 yen for the Nikkei average, and 26,000. And also in terms of the oil price, the per barrel WTI was $15, if I remember correctly. So economy is ever changing, and it's ephemeral. But economics, I hope that the women's capabilities to be utilized to its full extent, I think, is a true energy that could be generated. It's a renewable energy that Japan could be able to leverage on. So with that belief, Tokyo City would be going to be a more sophisticated and wonderful city. And this Tokyo Metropolitan Office, we already have a foundation for utilizing women's capability. The reason why I say that the foundation is there is that 39.5% of the employees, we have 170,000 people, but 40% of them are already women. And also the executive members or the managerial members, the ratio of managerial role, we are now coming close to 20%. It's 19.3% to be precise. This is we're the top runner in Japan. So in terms of private sectors and the government institution, I think this is a very high ratio. And in few years to come, this is going to further expand. And with that, in Japan, we are one of the few organization that full-fledgedly utilize women's capabilities and skill set. I believe that very strongly. And some of the women managerial position people, we have a women's lunch meeting. And how we be able to have them promote themselves to be higher, going up the ladder. What are the decisions that needs to be made at an important point? I have this dialogue with them. And for men employees, men ask us, can you also organize a men's lunch meeting? But with that being said, the decline of population, Japan is confronting the decline of population in order to achieve sustainable growth, and also in order to compete with the other city of the world, it's indispensable and a prerequisite to utilize women's empowerment. In order to do so, we have to resolve with the waiting list of children to be admitted to childcare. At that point, and then inaugurating as a governor of Tokyo, I have been looking into the securing of the childcare worker and promoting facility for childcare center in order to have extensive service. There are 11 strategies that have embedded, and in terms of the emergency measures, 17,000 children are now being facilitated with the childcare service. And also the location, there are problems with the scarcity of land. There are 120,000 open vacant rooms. So this needs to be well utilized for the win-win methodology. That's what we are pursuing for changing the working style. As Prime Minister said, reforming the working style, this is the most important pivotal area. We call about work-life balance. But now we converted them and flipped them over, saying life-work balance, not work-life balance. Before work, it's life. Life will come first before work. So that is the meaning why we say life-work balance. We would like to make sure that this word will be utilized. So long working hours, this is not going to lure companies' profit. Long working hours, rather, it is going to take away and exploit each of the independence people to learn even more for self-development. And the death from excessive work, called karoshi, is now already a Japanese word that's well known around the world. And this is something that we feel need to say shame of. In terms of the perception of how we work and the lifestyle, we are now starting on this new initiative at this metropolitan government. We are prohibiting workers from working after 8 p.m. So it's still 8 p.m. They cannot stay over 8 p.m. I think California, I think 5 p.m. all the people will leave after 5 p.m. But unfortunately in Japan it's still 8 p.m. But still it's very difficult to convince them to leave. But like the Cool Business Initiative, we would like to make sure that they will change their mind. And also child rearing boss declaration. So I have been asking them to leave early, to take care of the house. And now with the new governor, many people are very unhappy that there's so many work that they need to do. But in terms of the women advancement, we need to make sure that we change the way we're working and change the environment of child rearing. But what's most important is the reform on women's perceptions themselves. Next week, we would like to establish some of the idea soliciting event with myself and the general public of Tokyo City as means of a dialogue of how women can shine in the society. At the same time, diversity. We need to realize that the diversity. So all of you have been the demonstrator for diversity. So we have a special award called Women Empowerment Award. We are like to acknowledge these efforts. And within this year, we have a special program for women taking active role in the society. Not just in words, but it's a time where feasible action needs to be taken. So we'd like to pursue implementing and executing these programs. Myself, in Japan, is the first Japanese woman to graduate from Cairo University, and I am therefore a very unique individual. And first time I have been a politician to be appointed as a defense minister. Those who have selected is Prime Minister Abe, who had appointed me as a defense minister. I think he has that courage to appoint me a first woman defense minister. And at the same time, this time, to the people and city of Tokyo, this is I am the new women governor elected by the people of Tokyo become a governor. This is a big opportunity. So the opportunity needs to be fully leveraged in order to meet this challenge. At the same time, we talk about glass ceiling, but this is a dead word, an obsolete word. There's no such ceilings such as glass ceiling. Don't restrict yourself, will not do this, not do that. I think what you believe, what you have passion on, take action. And the actual performance and track record will follow you. And we must say that Japan has been revitalized or overcome those difficulties in the history because of the power of women. And I think we will be able to believe that. And we need to join together, unite together for that. And Olympic and Paralympics in in 1964, we had the first Tokyo Olympic and Paralympics. Now, it's a completely different situation as we see today. It's athlete first. It's city of people of Tokyo first. We need to consider these two aspects in creating a wonderful Tokyo Olympics in 2020. I hope that with you together, 2020 Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics will be a great success for all of us. And for all the women who are here with us, and men as well, we would like to have you come to Japan. And last but not least, at this International Women's Conference, WOW 2016, I hope this will be a fruitful meeting for all of us, and hoping for that, and the content of this meeting to be actionable, to be implementable. We would like to pursue this effort with you all. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
小池知事、よろしいですか?
That was Governor Koike. Actually, I have one question for Governor Koike. One question for Japanese women. What is the mindset change that's required the most for Japanese women? What kind of determination should Japanese women have? I don't think this is limited to women.
It's not a matter of woman or man. Just make a decision and do it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Today, we are also fortunate to hear from Dawn Aung San Suu Kyi, State Councilor and Union Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar via video. State Councilor Suu Kyi received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1991 for her democratization efforts, and she assumed her current position in 2016. Please turn to the screen.
It is a great pleasure and an honor for me to address the World Assembly of Women. I regret that I cannot be with you in person today, but I am strongly with you in spirit at this gathering dedicated to gender equality and women's empowerment. The themes of the 5-level roundtables of WAW, namely science and technology, decision-making and women, work-life balance, health and sanitation, and women and peace and security, highlight the major areas on which the Assembly needs to focus for the promotion of its objectives. Since the adoption of the 1995 Beijing Platform for Action, the world has witnessed significant progress in the advancement of women. The gender gap in education is narrowed, and more girls are now in school, even up to the tertiary level. Half of the world's women of working age are now in the labor force. In Myanmar, our civil services and education sector are recruiting increasing numbers of women. However, there is still much to be done. Gender discrimination is still rife throughout the world today. 1 in 3 women experiences physical or sexual violence at some point in their lifetime. In many parts of the world, women have to work for longer hours, and their unpaid work within the house goes unrecognized. It is a hard truth that women hold only a minority of decision-making positions in most societies. Further, unequal access to economic resources keeps women in poverty and makes them dependent on male members of their families. Though laws, policies, and plans have been introduced for women's empowerment, the results are asymmetrical. This clearly shows the need for us to go beyond traditional thinking, to overcome stereotypical views, to be creative, and to find evidence-based solutions. Every girl, every woman, everywhere in the world has the ability to create a successful life, and we must all work together towards this end. We need more women involved, not just in politics, but in all sectors of society, as part of a healthily gender-balanced human force that will bring peace, harmony, development, and progress to our world. I'm confident that the Assembly will find many solutions to the problems of our times. And let us not forget that we have to start addressing gender issues within the family. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Prime Minister Shinzo Abe for making this WAW possible. It is evidence of Japan's commitment to gender equality and women's empowerment. Last but not least, I wish you every success in your combined efforts for the betterment of girls and women all across the world. I believe that with your active participation, the WAW 2016 will be successful and that women and girls will be helped to achieve their full potential. Thank you.
At this time, we would like to move to the first panel discussion, Peaceful Society, contributed by women. We will ask the panelists to come forward. One note, those of us in Japan, we hear about conflicts and refugees, but many of us feel that there are also faraway issues. I'm someone working for the news, and I feel that remoteness myself. I have also spent 1 month in the 90s in Yugoslavia to cover the conflict there. But when the extraordinary became the ordinary, the ones who are most affected are women, children, and the aged, the elderly. That was in 1994. We know that earthquakes included will suddenly change our daily lives, and we need to be prepared for that change. And we need to be serious about building a resilient society. And to that end, women's participation and peace and security are known to be key. Let me introduce the panelists today. We welcome from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, Mariette Schumann, Special Representative on Women, Peace and Security. From South Sudan, we welcome Minister Aout Den Chiuil, responsible for gender, children, and social welfare. We also welcome Ms. Slate Isen from the International Committee of Red Cross, member of the Cambodian office. We also welcome from Cambodia, Ms. Sok Chan Sien. So I turn to now Ms. Schumann.
Thank you. Thank you for that kind introduction. And it's really a pleasure to be here. I was thinking, you know, a world of women, let women shine, where if you're on this stage and this light, you start to shine by yourself. That's not an effort and not an achievement. But I'm very happy to be here with 3 prominent speakers, women of action, and I will introduce them later. But I would start by thanking Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and the government of Japan for making the 3rd WAW a WAW for action, and for asking me to facilitate this panel on building peace in society, by women, with 3 women of action, as I said. And the Prime Minister spoke about promoting women action and the change in mindsets that requires. And that is actually, I think, very much the core of Resolution 1325, which is about promoting active participation in women in decision-making at all levels on matters of peace and security. Resolution 1325 that was adopted 16 years ago by the UN Security Council. It's an agenda for change, it's an agenda for better peace, built on the equal participation of men and women to shape the future of their societies and to rebuild resilient societies. So on my business card for NATO, Special Representative on Women, Peace and Security, there's this number, 1325. Now, obviously, you don't expect everybody to know by heart all the numbers of all UN Security Council resolutions, so you often get the question like, what is this number? And to my NATO colleagues, they say, it's a code name. it's a code name for a slow but unstoppable revolution. It's indeed very slow, a revolution that started more than 100 years ago, and then we had a resolution adopted 16 years ago, and we're still not there yet. But today we're going to talk about action on how to make that world of equal participation, which in the end will lead to lasting peace, to make that come closer much faster. So that women and girls are not only victims of war, but also recognized as important agents for peace. And there is overwhelming evidence for that. We know that peace negotiations, peace processes in which women and civil society organizations have an active contribution and participation have 64% less chance of failing and 35% chance that the peace agreement reached will last for more than 15 years. And we also know that the more gender equal a society is, the less prone it is to conflict. So the more gender equal, the less prone to conflict. So the evidence is there, but still the participation of women in peace processes in preventing conflict and resolving conflict is very low. Only 9% of the negotiators are female in the past peace process in the past 25 years. Only 4% of signatories are female. Only 3% of our military peacekeepers in UN-led missions are female, and only 10% of the police in peacekeeping missions are female, whereas the target of the UN is 20%. And only 0.4% of official development aid to fragile states is spent on women initiatives and women's role in peace processes. So the facts are there, but we don't act on it. The current approaches to peace and insecurity are largely ineffective, and it's partly due, or mostly due probably, because we continue to overlook the most important strategy, which is the inclusion of women. So 16 years after the adoption of 1325, it's time for change and it's time for action, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Time for action, the WAW for action, and we have 3 women of action. And as was said before, the stories come from conflict-affected countries, but I think it's important for all of us in mind that the world of today is a global village, everything is interconnected, and a safer and more peaceful world starts at home. So to think through the relevance of these stories of these women, also for what it means when it comes to our own role in our own societies, to building prosperous, stable and peaceful societies and resilient societies. So with that introduction, enough about me. We're here to listen to 3 impressive women leaders and learn from their experience and their recommendation to enhance the role of women in building peace. And the first I would like to introduce is Minister Awood Deng Achwil from South Sudan, currently the Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare of the Republic of South Sudan. But she has an impressive track record, both in the South Sudan, in the Sudan peace process, and also in the South Sudanese government. She's been a member of the UNLID Peace and Reconciliation Conference, a delegation member of the peace negotiations between South Sudan and Sudan. She has been presidential advisor on gender and human rights, Minister of Labor, Public Service and Human Resource Development. That's when I met her for the first time in Juba. Minister of Gender and Social Development, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, and currently Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare. But also a delegation member of the IGAD Plus Mediation South Sudan team, as well as the co-founder of the Sudanese Women Association and the Sudanese Women's Voice for Peace. So, Minister Awood, thank you for coming all the way. I know that you were probably struggling with your jet lag as well, but I'm pretty sure your story will help us to overcome our jet lag. And I would like you, as I said, would like to learn from you your experience and what are the challenges in ensuring political participation of women in conflict-affected countries. What is the change, the actual change? What's the difference that it made to have active political participation of women? And what are the concrete measures to be taken by governments for developing and advancing female leaders and female leadership? Minister, please.
Thank you, Ambassador Maria. First, I would like to congratulate the Prime Minister Abe for organizing World Assembly for Women. I also admire his passion to promote, protect, and to push women's empowerment higher in this country, a beautiful country, a resilient population. So I would like to register that on behalf of the government of South Sudan and the people. Turning into the question, challenges that face women, I think in the first place I would like to say by nature, women are peacemakers. And if I say traditionally, in where I grew up, when there is a fighting and a woman come in between, that fighting will cease. So before we become leaders, I think we are teachers and we are peacemakers. What are the challenges? One of the challenges, I think it is the environment where women live, where negative cultural practices affect women that deny them to move in the society, to exercise their leadership rights, and to participate in building a peaceful society. That's one of the challenges, and we need to look at those practices that will not allow us to develop. The second is the denial of opportunities, where, starting from the family, where your male sibling is given an opportunity to do whatever he would like to do as a leader, but as a woman or as a girl, you're only trained, your role is to be trained to cook and to be a mother, and you are geared towards that, neglecting your leadership roles. That's another challenge I see. In politics, I think the policies and legislations have not been favors to the women, and that policies that discriminate women to become only voters but not leaders. These are the policies and legislation that we need to look at as women. Even the language. I remember in our constitutions, the language is he means she. And I think we had to struggle to change the language to say he doesn't mean she. It is she and it is he. And that's what has happened in our national constitution. The other thing which is a challenge is resources. Women do not have resources. From the childhood, when resources are being distributed equally, it is only the male who gets and women don't get. So for you to do politics, you must have resources to have equal opportunity to do politics. So these are, and I can go on and go on. But I think what we need to change is attitude. The women attitude and also men attitude. Because of that long oppression, women intend to shy away from coming forward to speak up on their rights. But in my case in South Sudan, there's a lot of changes. From the interim constitution to the constitution, the present constitution of South Sudan, where women came forward and gave their contribution. We insist that we have to be a part and parcel of negotiation, and we got the space. We also, when the Constitution has been drafted, we became a part and parcel of the Constitution. One of the lawyers was the chair, I was the deputy in the process. And when legislation came for the election, I made sure that my party give me the file for election, because I want to see the affirmative action in the election. And that's what brought affirmative action in the election bill. But it gives 25% as affirmative action, and it is opened to compete in 75%. So we have over 100 women in the parliament right now, just within 4 years. Also, it gives the party itself, if the party do not empower women, when nomination is taking place, women are not nominated to the position of leadership to contest, then you need to look at the policy of the parties. So the beginning is the party itself to have a policy, and I think we also participated to make sure that the affirmative action is in the constitution of the party, and the manifesto carried the same. So I think the changes come in power balance. And let me give you just a small example. I was conducting a meeting for the community at the grassroots. We have about 15 groups. One group was purely women, and the question was, what can we do for the cattle raiders? Because we come from pastoralist communities. All the men, the 14 groups said, these people should be given capital punishment. But when the women came, it was totally different perspective. They say these people should be built a formatory school where they can be reformed, trained, and change, and become a better citizen to work for peace, but also help us in reconstruction of our country. So you could see how women look differently at the issues, even when it is even the same society addressing the same issue. It means a woman have a better outlook, is more resolving problem than punishment. So I think our participation has changed many things in the parliament. The legislation is never the same. We need to look at how the power balance is done. And again, the women reach out. When we are doing processes in peace building, they do not stay in their offices. They reach out, they go to the community. And most of the women who had worked in the peace building, I remember in 1999 when we had the Wounded People-to-People Peace Initiative, I went from one village to another on foot. And this was to mobilize the women, to mobilize the youth, to mobilize elders, to mobilize chief. And women look at the society as a whole. So each has a role to play. And in that process, we were able to turn the fighters to be peacemakers with the constant dialogues and seeing what peace can do for our children, for our families, for our communities. We were able to bring those on board and be peaceful. So the language itself, the women has a different approach. It's very human approach that even if a person is hostile, you will still calm him down to become into its sense, and he's able to respond back objectively instead of being a hostile person. What are the concrete measures? The government of South Sudan, of course, has many legislation now. We have rectified CEDAW. We have also launched a national action plan in response to UN Security Resolution 1325. We have also rectified the Child Convention that gives protections. We are in the process to also address the issue of Maputo Protocol. Is already on the way to Parliament. And we had also policies that are addressing the gender issue. The legislation on elections is one thing we are looking at. The peace agreement, the President's peace agreement, had in every component is gender sensitive, because we have women in the government, women in the rebel side, women as a pure women delegation, and then we also have women from the civil society, and we have women that came through the religious group. So the number of women which were there was a good number, but at the same time they were well prepared. There was an agenda for women to be put in the peace agreement. And it was our job to make sure that it was included. So if you look at the contribution of women in the peace agreement, it's very clear. The only thing the women didn't want, and it has people insist to put, was 2 armies. We say 2 armies in one country is not for good. It will not help the women's security. And that's what happened. But I was the one chairing the Committee for Economic Reform. And that document is a very good document. It creates opportunities. So all the establishment of institutions in the peace agreement, it has a component of women. At least 2 or 3 women has to be in one institutions. And in GEMEC, you go there, you will get women sitting, also participating. For the first time for women also to sign the peace agreement was our recent peace agreement. And recently, women of South Sudan have decided that this war will not move on anymore. And for the last 2 months, we have been visiting military institutions, security sector, the parliament, and traditional leaders, the church leaders, and we are saying stop killing. Stop the war is enough. We have seen it, and we don't want to continue, and we vow we will never stop until we see a complete peace in our country. And that's a job we took ourselves. We were not assigned, but as peace is a collective responsibility of every citizen, we took that responsibility. We have members of parliament, we have women who are ministers, presidential advisors, speakers. So, and then the women who are even in the grassroots, who are just there as housewives, we said every woman lose a child, lose a husband, lose a brother, lose a father. And for that reason, we must work for peace. So this movement is now almost making everybody understand, and the situation is getting calmer in our country. And as a part of peace process, we have women and children in UNMISS protection camp. We have started also last month for those who have come out to go back to their villages voluntary. We have transported 400 women and children, and we are going to transport this week 1,700 to their villages, because we want them to be a part in the process of the movement of stopping the war. Let us work for peace. We are telling youth, you must be youth for peace, not for war. Enough is enough. So I think the story is a long story, but I want to stop here to say that when women are given opportunity, they reach out, they get there. But for us, we are not waiting for that opportunity. We are taking it and we are leading it and we are continuing. Anyone who wants to follow will get us ahead of time, because I think the country belongs to all of us, and it is important that rights of women are protected, rights of the children are protected, and there is a peaceful country and environment where women can prosper. We want to see our children going to school. because apart from being denied by war, we has this negative practice that we need to also address to create awareness as a part of the nation building. Africa can only achieve when the majority of its populations is empowered and is participating in economic growth, in development, and politically making decisions that will impact the life of its citizen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for that encouraging story about South Sudanese women waging peace in a very long and violent story with hopefully a happy ending. But it's very good that you say situation is calm now and the women took the responsibility. That reminds me of what I think Sanna Mandalini, that many of you know, often says, that when there's negotiations, men tend to negotiate for power. Women negotiate for sharing responsibilities. And it's very much what we see happening in South Sudan. Thank you for that. I would like to turn to the next two speakers, our guests from Cambodia. We have, and apologies if I don't pronounce your name entirely correctly. We have Sun Sreto, she's the Disability Inclusion Officer of ICRC, and Sieng Sokchan, the Chair of Women with Disabilities and the coach of the Battambang Women Wheelchair Basketball Team. So she will be back in 2020. Keep an eye on her during the Olympics. And we agreed that they would like to introduce themselves and share their story about basically developing activities for developing the dignity and confidence of women with disabilities through sport, and the measures that need to be taken to support the independence of women in various situations. Sreto, do I give you the word first? Please, go ahead.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to respect Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sun Sretu. I'm a Disability Inclusion Officer. And I also would like to introduce Sieng Sokchan. She is a coach of women wheelchair basketball in Battambang province. And we are very honored to be here today. And yes, I would like to say thank you very much to His Excellency Prime Minister Abe that invite us to join this event. For Sieng Sokchan, today she will share her own story related to her own story that she is a person who is living with disability. So first I would like to invite her to take this time for her to share her own experience, and then I will translate for her.
ជាដំបូងនាងខ្ញុំសូមជម្រាបសួរអាយអាដាមលោកជំទាវដែលនៅក្នុងអង្គប្រជុំក្នុងថ្ងៃនេះខ្ញុំសប្បាយរីករាយមានអារម្មណ៍ថារំភើបមែនទែនដែលបានមកឡើងលើវេទិកា
She would like to respect ladies and gentlemen, and she is very happy to be here. It's the first time for her.
ហើយខ្ញុំឡើងមកក្នុងថ្ងៃនេះគឺខ្ញុំចង់ចែកចាយបទពិសោធន៍ជីវិតផ្ទាល់ខ្លួនរបស់ខ្ញុំទៅដល់លោកទាំងអស់ដែលនៅក្នុងទីនេះផងដែរចា៎ Then
she will share her own experience to all of you.
នាងខ្ញុំឈ្មោះសៀងសុខច័ន្ទមកពីប្រទេសកម្ពុជារស់នៅក្នុងខេត្តបាត់ដំបង
She is Sieng Sokchan. She from Cambodia and today she live in Battambang province.
ហើយនាងខ្ញុំមានបងប្អូនចំនួន6នាក់ប្រុស3ស្រី3ខ្ញុំជាកូនទី2
She has 6 siblings. Three brother and 3 sisters. She is the second child.
ហើយក្នុងគ្រួសារមួយដែលមានជីវភាពក្រីក្របំផុត
She live in a poor family condition.
ហើយនាងខ្ញុំមូលហេតុដែលពិការ ធ្លាក់ខ្លួនពីការគឺដោយសារត្រូវក្រក់កភ្លើងចំឆ្អឹងខ្នងនៅឆ្នាំ1994
She was paralyzed from the waist down when the trace bullet hit her in the spine.
ពេលដែលត្រូវក្រក់កភ្លើងហ្នឹងគឺនាងខ្ញុំអត់បានដឹងថាត្រូវក្រក់កភ្លើងទេដោយសារមូលហេតុនៅស្រុកខ្មែរយើងតំបន់ឆ្នោតហើយថ្មីអញ្ចឹងទៅវាមានការប្រើកំភ្លើងអីសេរីអញ្ចឹងទៅពេលភ្លៀងអញ្ចឹងគេបាញ់ខ្យល់អញភ្លៀងមកបណ្ដាលឲ្យហើមកចំឆ្អឹងខ្នងខ្ញុំតែអត់ដឹងថាត្រូវក្រក់កភ្លើងទេ
During the time, she didn't know that she hit by the trace of bullets because during the time after finished the first election in Cambodia, so the people try to fight each other, so she didn't know that she got this accident.
ព្រោះខ្ញុំដើរទៅផ្សារជួយយកអវ៉ាន់យាយខ្ញុំនៅផ្សារពេលត្រឡប់មកដល់ផ្ទះវិញខ្ញុំអោនរើសស្បែកជើងងើបឡើងក៏ត្រូវដូចមានគេវាយពីដបងចំឆ្អឹងខ្នងអញ្ចឹង
She went to her grandmother at the market to prepare the goat, and then she doesn't know that the bullet hit to her, and she feel that someone hit him at her back.
ហើយពេលហ្នឹងយកទៅមន្ទីរពេទ្យគឺខាងពេទ្យគេសួរថាកើតអីយាយខ្ញុំក៏ម៉ែខ្ញុំក៏ថាខ្យល់កោអញ្ចឹងពេទ្យគេទុកចោលរយៈពេល1អាទិត្យ
After that, someone brought her to the hospital, and then
ចាហើយក្រោយមកទៀតខ្ញុំធ្លាក់ខ្លួនពីការគឺខ្ញុំត្រូវបាត់បង់ការសិក្សាការទៅសាលារៀនដោយសារវាអត់មានបកលក្ខណៈងាយស្រួលអត់មានឱកាសដើម្បីទៅសាលា
After he got injured, he have no opportunity to attend school at all.
ហើយម្ដាយខ្ញុំត្រូវបានស្លាប់នៅពេលដែលខ្ញុំនៅក្នុងមន្ទីរពេទ្យផងដែរ
During that time, her mother died when she was in a hospital.
ហើយពេលហ្នឹងគឺខ្ញុំមានការលំបាកខ្លាំងមែនទែនក្នុងការរស់នៅដោយសារមានការរើសអើងពីក្រុមគ្រួសារក៏ដូចជាអ្នកជិតខាងនិងសហគមន៍ផងដែរ
She faced many challenges because she got a discrimination from the family and even the neighbor.
ពេលហ្នឹងខ្ញុំគិតក្នុងចិត្តខ្ញុំតាំងចិត្តមួយគឺបញ្ញាចិត្តថាត្រូវរៀនជំនាញអ្វីមួយដើម្បីអាចមានលទ្ធភាពចំខ្លួនឯងបានរស់ដោយខ្លួនឯង
He commit herself that she has to try to learn one skill in order to earn money to support her family.
ពេលនោះគឺខ្ញុំបានរៀនជំនាញកាត់ដេរនៅក្នុងអង្គការមួយអង្គការ JCIA អង្គការជប៉ុនដែរ
She learned the sewing skill in one organization. Is a Japanese organization also at that time.
តែដោយសារពេលខ្ញុំរៀនចប់ទៅដោយសារបញ្ហាដូចថានៅស្រុកខ្មែរគឺមានការរើសអើងច្រើនអញ្ចឹងការរកការងារធ្វើគឺពិបាក
After finish the learning skill, she still face a lot of challenges because in Cambodia it's very difficult to find a job, to get a job for a person with disability.
ហើយក្នុងឆ្នាំ2000គឺខ្ញុំបានចូលរួមលេងកីឡាជាមួយក្រុមមានបុរសមានស្ត្រី
In 2010, she enrolled in women basketball team, but is also have men to play also.
ចាហើយនឹងដេលក្ខណៈដេជាកបោផងដែរ
She has skill to sew the bag.
រយៈពេលប្រហែលជា1ឆ្នាំគឺចប់ដោយសារគម្រោងវាអស់អញ្ចឹងទៅយើងពិបាករកទីផ្សារដើម្បីដេហើយនឹងលេងកីឡាផងដែរ
1 year later, the project is finished, so her product also difficult to sell because of no market.
ហើយនៅក្នុងឆ្នាំ2001នៅចូលឆ្នាំ2002គឺខ្ញុំបានរៀបការមានគ្រួសារមួយ
In 2012, she got married.
ហើយពេលដែលខ្ញុំមានគ្រួសារគឺពេលដែលខ្ញុំមានផ្ទៃពោះពុកម្ដាយខាងគ្រួសារខ្ញុំគឺគាត់អត់ពេញចិត្តដោយសារមានកូនភាសាពិការជើងអញ្ចឹងគាត់ព្យាយាមបបាយពិបាក
Unfortunately, her parent-in-law is not certified. So sad that she has a husband is a person with disability.
ហើយគាត់ព្យាយាមបែកបាក់គ្រួសារខ្ញុំតែងតែផឹកស្រាហើយពេលនោះគាត់តែងតែរោរឿងធ្វើបាបប្រើអំពើហិង្សាទាំងផ្លូវកាយផ្លូវចិត្តសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំ
Her husband always use domestic violence, hurt her, and she is the drunkard, like to drink a lot, so he used.
ហើយខ្ញុំត្រូវចិញ្ចឹមកូនមួយម្នាក់ឯងដោយខ្ញុំអត់មានការគ្រប់គ្រងពីក្នុងគ្រួសារហើយអញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំដើរទៅនៅផ្ទះមិត្តភ័ក្តិពិការដូចគ្នា
She has to feed her children by her own, and he tried to find someone to help, but she still have problems. She rely on her friend.
ហើយក្នុងឆ្នាំ2007គឺខ្ញុំបានចូលរួមក្នុងក្រុមមួយគេតេស្តប៉ាណាំងម៉ារ៉ាតុនមានស្ត្រី5នាក់
In 2007, she involved in volleyball, which has 5 players.
ហើយខ្ញុំជាប្រធានក្រុម
She is a leader.
ហើយក្រោយមកយើងបានចូលរួមសកម្មភាពជាច្រើនពេលនោះគឺមានការផ្លាស់ប្ដូរ
After that, she involved a lot of activity in society, and then it can make her change a lot.
ខ្ញុំបានចូលរួមនៅក្នុងក្រុមជួយខ្លួនឯង
She participated in self-help group
ដែលមានស្ត្រីពិការជាច្រើនដែលគាត់មានការពិបាកដូចជាខ្ញុំដែរ
that have a lot of women that they have a lot of difficulty like her.
ពេលនោះគឺពួកយើងពេលដែលមានបញ្ហាអីយើងតែងតែពិភាក្សាគ្នាចែករំលែកបទពិសោធន៍គ្នាទៅវិញទៅមកហើយនឹងរកវិធីដោះស្រាយជាមួយគ្នា
They always help each other. They share their idea and they always support each other.
ហើយនៅក្នុងឆ្នាំ2010ខ្ញុំបានខ្ញុំអត់តាំងចិត្តថាចង់មានគ្រួសារមួយទៀតទេក៏ប៉ុន្តែដោយសារមូលហេតុខ្ញុំរស់នៅម្នាក់ឯងខ្ញុំមើលកូនម្នាក់ឯងខ្ញុំមានការពិបាកចឹងហើយមានបុរសម្នាក់ទៀតគាត់ពិការគាត់មកស្រឡាញ់រៀបការជាមួយនឹងខ្ញុំក៏ប៉ុន្តែដោយសារគាត់មាននិយាយរួមទៅគឺគាត់មិនវាយដំច្រំធាក់ខ្ញុំទេតែគាត់ធ្វើបាបផ្លូវចិត្ត
After that, she decided to marry again with the guy. And for the second husband, she said that still have problem because he make her so sad, difficult. So it's still a problem for her.
ហើយកូនក៏ពេលនេះទៅគឺខ្ញុំមានកូនមួយខ្ញុំបានព្រោះគាត់រោរឿងខ្ញុំពេកខ្ញុំក៏បានលែងលះគ្នា
After that, she divorced again.
អញ្ចឹងទៅខ្ញុំត្រូវចិញ្ចឹមកូន2ម្នាក់ឯងរាល់ថ្ងៃគឺខ្ញុំរស់នៅ3នាក់ម៉ែកូននៅផ្ទះជួល
Nowadays, she's living with
ហ្នឹងហើយ
her 2 sons in the rental house.
ហើយពេលឆ្នាំ2012ខ្ញុំបានចូលរួមក្នុងក្រុមកីឡាបាល់បោះស្ត្រីពិការខេត្តបាត់ដំបង
In 2012, she participated in women wheelchair basketball in Battambang province.
ហើយខ្ញុំបានក្លាយជាគ្រូផងដែរ
She is a coach.
ពេលហ្នឹងគឺក្នុងក្រុមរបស់ពួកយើងគឺមានការស្រឡាញ់គ្នាហើយមានការចែករំលែកបទពិសោធន៍នឹងគ្នាហើយដែលមានការគ្រប់គ្រងពីខាង ICRC ផងដែរ
The team is supported by ICOC.
ថ្ងៃពួកយើងហាត់បាល់គឺនៅថ្ងៃសុក្រថ្ងៃសៅរ៍ថ្ងៃអាទិត្យរយៈពេល2ថ្ងៃកន្លះ
We play the basketball at the weekend.
ហើយថ្លៃអាហារថ្លៃស្នាក់នៅកន្លែងស្នាក់នៅហើយនឹងថ្លៃធ្វើដំណើរគឺខាង ICRC ជាអ្នកឧបត្ថម្ភ
For the transportation, accommodation and food, everything is supported by ICOC.
ហើយពួកយើងបានចូលរួមការអញ្ជើញពីខាងម៉ាឡេស៊ី អញ្ជើញពួកយើងទៅចូលរួមប្រកួតលក្ខណៈមិត្តភាពគឺពួកយើងបានជោគជ័យដោយសារពួកយើងមានអារម្មណ៍ថាមានមោទនភាពដែលបានចូលរួមចេញទៅក្រៅប្រទេស
The women play an exhibition match at the Asian Disability Forum at Kuala Lumpur, so it's very great time for the team that can have the competition in there.
Sokchan, we are running out of time. Okay, there's one more panel after this.
Sorry.
Could I ask you, in one word, what has it meant for you to be what has the basketball and the basketball wheelchair team meant for you for overcoming, your past and for taking the courage to have an active part in public life? How did that work for you? Can you translate?
Cha និយាយទៅខាងជំនួយ ICC បានជួយពួកខ្ញុំគឺមានការផ្លាស់ប្ដូរជីវិតពួកខ្ញុំជាច្រើនដោយសារពួកខ្ញុំពេលដែលបានចូលរួមលេងកីឡាពួកយើងអាចមានប្រាក់ឧបត្ថម្ភក្នុងគ្រួសារខ្លះហើយមួយទៀតពួកយើងអាចចូលរួមនៅក្នុងសង្គមមួយដែលឲ្យគេគិតថាស្ត្រីពិការក៏អាចលេงកីឡាបានដែរ
After she involved in ICRC support in the basketball team, the basketball can change her life. As other women in the team a lot because they had chance to participate in other activity in society and also build her confidence more than before. And then they can share the experience and the idea to the team member also.
Okay. And for you, Sritu, as we have wrapping up, we are over time now.
Yep.
I see. But from your work and from also working with women with disabilities, as the Prime Minister said, we are meant to come up with actionable items, right? Recommendations. From your work, if there's one thing you could recommend in terms of action to empower women in a conflict and post-conflict situation, what would that recommendation be? What is the action that you would recommend for us?
Yep, as on behalf of we are women with disability and through our work experience, so I just would like to address one thing about the disability. For us, we think that disability is not the disability issue is not a cutting issue. So for us, disability is not our barrier. If the community and society give us the chance and provide us the accessibility, so we think that we can do anything like the other also. So it is very important for us.
Right. Disability is not a barrier. That's a very important one. Minister Wood, your one takeaway for the audience from your long and rich experience. What is the key thing, if there's only one thing you could recommend as a matter of action for all of us to empower women, what would you say?
First of all, I think what I can take away as a key word is that if we are to fight against poverty in the continent and in the world, then women will be the key to change things for better, men for the families, for the communities, for the country, and we will be all happy as people, as citizens. That's my belief, and I am sure we can do it. I see so many faces here of empowered women, and I feel energized every time when I go to the village and I see a woman who has that power to change the situation she's in. So I think with the leaving no one behind, I'm sure we can do it together. Not with the title, but where we can reach. It's possible to do that. So I want to thank the First Lady who is sitting here with us because she's concerned And that is why she's here as a woman, to be a role model, to listen carefully to what we are saying. And I'm sure tomorrow she will hold a small child hands and say, you can do it. So this is what I want to take away. And I sincerely thank the government of Japan and the people of Japan for this warm welcome and reception and the care for the women. And we are one global village, and I'm sure together we can change the status of women in the world.
Yeah.
I thank you.
Thank you for that. I think it's a very good conclusion. Together, we can change the world. It reminds me of Laura Liswood, the Secretary General of Female in Leadership, who says that women are like snowflakes. Alone, they melt away. Together, they can stop traffic. So, thank you for that. Thank you for your attention and for listening to us. And particularly, thank you for the three panelists for sharing their stories with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So please, once again, please give another big round of applause for the panelists for this session. Thank you very much. Now, UN Women. I would like to invite Under Secretary General, Executive Director of UN Women, Ms. Mulambo Nukuka. UN Women is the centerpiece of women empowerment and the international institution. She used to be Deputy President of South Africa in 2013 July. She's an Executive Director of UN Women. In 2010, the UN Women, the existence has been affirmed by her leadership. So with that, please, Executive Director, please invite the Executive Director with a big round of applause.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again for this opportunity to be with you here at WAW. Thank you to the First Lady for again being here with us to support the many initiatives of the women who are here. I want to thank Prime Minister Abe for convening us and for continuing to lead from the front as a champion for gender equality and women's empowerment, and as one of our leaders who are he for she, men who stand up for gender equality. Japan is one of our closest partners as UN Women, and we appreciate the political, financial, and advocacy support that they provide in the work that we do together, the financial support which has enabled us to reach out to thousands of women in areas affected by war, in communities where women need sustainable livelihoods, where young people need access to means to further their training and education. And this morning, or rather afternoon, when the Prime Minister made his speech, it was interesting because everything he highlighted is part of Goal 5, which is the goal in the Sustainable Development Goals that focuses on gender equality. His speech also touched on the recommendations of the high-level panel on women's economic empowerment. One, the addressing of women in the informal sector, because in many countries, women in the informal sector are about 80% of the women who work outside the home. It addressed the issues of incentivizing private sector so that it engages women in leadership and effectively in the economy. And again, the underrepresentation of women and the need to address that is part of Goal 5, and it is a recommendation of the high-level panel. It touched on the need to provide support so that women reduce the burden of unpaid care, in particular, the taking care of children. Again, one of the recommendations in the Sustainable Development Goals, Goal 5, as well as in the high-level panel recommendations. If Japan goes on like this, it will be one of the countries that will perform very high on the Sustainable Development Goals, and I wish you every luck, and I hope you could be on top of the chart and the lead board. Please clap. This is an incentive. Japan also is a partner in the He for She program because Nagoya University is one of the 10 universities whose president has also committed to be a He for She champion. In the commitment that this university has made, they have decided they will build a research center which is specialized on doing work on gender equality and will make their facilities available for scholars from all around the world. And I'm sure they will help us to write on the progress that will be made in Japan with all the interventions that were announced today. And I hope that it will inspire other countries as well who will benefit from the work of the center. Today, this morning, we also discussed the issue of participation of women in STEM careers. We looked at the opportunities and possibilities as well as barriers that women face on their way up to becoming actors in the technology companies, in the areas that address changes that make lives better because of use of science. And when we listened to Levin, the CEO of Instagram, one of the handful of women in the world that lead a tech company, it was interesting to hear that not only is she a leader in the work that the company has to do, her company has also been one of the companies that has participated actively in the 16 days of activism to end violence against women in Oranging the World campaign. And what that says to us is that when we put women in charge, not only will they deliver on the bottom line of the company, they will also take on board issues that change society. The issue of violence against women is critical to all of us, no matter what work we do, because it remains one of the biggest challenges of our time. As we speak, 1 out of 3 women will face violence in their lifetime. And violence against women is the most dehumanizing form of gender inequality. It is a violation for which society has a very high tolerance for, as perpetrators and impunity remain very high. The indifference of perpetrator, the repeat offenders, as well as the lack of action by law enforcers remain very high. Women are subjected to violence at home, often by a person they know, in front of children in some cases, which turns some of the children into perpetrators as they get older after witnessing the violence. The girl children grow up expecting to be violated and see it as a norm. Women are violated in war zones by both sides of the conflict, those who are fighting for them and those who are fighting against them. Women and girls are violated in schools, in university campuses, by educators and fellow students. They are violated in the field of sport by their coaches and fellow sportsmen. They are violated in open space, in parks, and they are gang raped. They are violated at work by co-workers. They are harassed, and in some cases, they have no recourse. They are violated going to fetch water in the river in countries where there is no infrastructure and clean water in the house. They are violated by UN peacekeepers who are supposed to protect them. The WHO calls this a pandemic because it is also a public health crisis. The data that we use to gauge the extent of violence against women in the world is generated by WHO in most cases. This is data that is collected from nurses, from physicians, from dentists, from orthopedic surgeons, from mental health practitioners, from eye specialists, from emergency and trauma units. They record millions and millions of heartbreaking stories. So when we talk about gender equality, it doesn't matter which field we come from, this is one issue that we have to conquer and conquer together. Education and women's economic empowerment, very much a subject of discussion in this conference, is critical for us to turn this situation around. And I would urge us, as we discuss and we think about actions, let us also connect the dots to the challenge of ending violence against women. In the Sustainable Development Goals, which give us a pathway to addressing gender equality in a global as well as in a universal approach, we are provided with critical actions that we need to take so as to make sure that our interventions that address gender equality create change that lasts. Amongst the initiatives and the areas that Goal 5 in specifically addresses, one is ending all forms of discrimination against women. In the world today, there is still more than 150 countries with one or more legislation that discriminate against women. Action required is that by 2030, we should have no country that still has legislation that discriminates against women. But by 2020, we should gauge the progress that we're making. In Goal 5, and in the context of Sustainable Development Goals, we also have to address the discriminatory norms and attitudes and stereotypes that continue the discrimination against women. In that regard, we must ensure that as we pass good laws, because many countries have passed excellent laws to address gender equality, we do that at the same time with initiatives that also address social norms and attitudes and stereotypes. We tend to undermine the good laws that we pass. Another critical intervention that is required of us is address the issue of unpaid care work. This morning, the Prime Minister made reference to parental leave as well as to childcare. This thing called a baby exists in every society. There are more than 80% men and women who are biological parents. The inability of women to get on with their lives because of motherhood, what the ILO calls the motherhood penalty, is one of the barriers to women's economic empowerment. By just addressing the issue of childcare, addressing the issue of parental leave, a game changer for millions and millions of women in the world. Again, the goals also focus on harmful practices that impact on women and girls. Cited is early child marriage, as well as ending of female genital mutilation. Just with child marriage alone, lives of girls are stopped even before they have blossomed. Today, there are 700 million girls who were married before they were 18. Many of them have not even reached the age of 30. We can still turn around the lives of those girls by giving them second chances. If we do not intervene decisively in this area of child marriage, there is a risk that by 2050, there will be more than 1 billion girls who would have been married as children, not under our watch. And the fact that member states have agreed to address this issue, this gives us an opportunity again to undertake changes that will create a better life for women and change that last. Of course, ending violence against women is one of the focal areas in the goals. So is representation and participation of women, which requires us to take specific action, such as equal pay for work of equal value. Again, millions of women's lives will be changed just by that action. It also addresses the importance of minimum wage, given that many women are at the bottom of the pyramid in any economy. If we increase minimum wage, we change the quality of life of the millions of working poor. The goals also address the importance of political participation and participation of women in decision-making. Without the participation of women in decision-making, the decisions that are made about and for women tend not to work as well for women as they work for men, even if they are well-intentioned. Without participation of women in the economy, without access to education, without ending child marriage, the World Economic Forum projects that it will take us about 117 years for us to achieve full equal economic participation between men and women. Again, this calls for us to act because there are interventions that we can take in order to turn this around. I want to highlight also the importance of leadership in gender equality. It is not acceptable that the struggle for gender equality is usually left to women's ministries who are underfunded and cannot carry the big tasks that they are carried for them. They do not always have enough power and authority to make the far-reaching changes that are needed in society, such as fiscal reforms, such as macroeconomic changes, so that the life of women can be bettered by the use of policy and recognition of the contribution they make in their in their economies. And that is why leading from the front by head of state in the area of gender equality is critical. It is for that reason, again, that we appreciate WAW, we appreciate the role that the Prime Minister is playing, because we actually need more leaders to lead from the front and to bring about the kind of changes that is required. Sports, just like education, is a game changer and an equalizer. And I'd like to congratulate Japan for the wonderful opportunity to host the Olympics in 2020. We have just had an example of one woman whose life has been changed by sports. There are women all over the world whose life could be changed by sport. However, we face a challenge because many women drop out, young women drop in sports during puberty. Girls are likely to drop out of sport 49% more than boys at the age of puberty because as their body change, they become embarrassed and do not want to be in public. In that process, we lose future champions. We therefore adopted a program that has been embraced by the International Olympics Committee called One Win Leads to Another. We started in Rio, and we worked with girls from the favelas to encourage them to stay in sports, to build their confidence, and this now has become one of the programs that will be a legacy program of the International Olympics Committee. We hope to collaborate with Japan when the Olympics are here so that, again, we can make sure that one win will lead to another. And girls, not just in Japan, but also in the surrounding countries who are good in sports but are at risk of dropping out, will see sports as an equalizer and an enabler. To support and to empower girls in education and in sports, teachers and coaches who do not have prejudice are critical. Investing in coaches so that they appreciate and support girls, investing in teachers so that they can support and not discriminate against girls, either because they are disabled or of their sexual orientation or any other reason, is an important part of the answer that will ensure that sports, as well as education and combined, become game changers. Even though the challenge of violence against women is significant. Even though the challenge of poverty of women is significant, we have examples of interventions that work. We can scale them up, we can implement, we can be in partner. It is possible that we reach 2030 having attained substantive equality. We are the first generation with a real possibility to make that change happen. But it is in our hands to make those decisions. It is in the hands of the many leaders in private sector, in government, heads of corporation, principals of school, parents as leaders of their family to make those changes happen. And here in Tokyo, as we meet to discuss in the coming day, I hope we'll be able to come with interventions that are tangible, that will bind us no matter what country we come from, because in the Sustainable Development Goals, there's a platform for partnership and for collaboration. And UN Women stands ready to collaborate with anyone and everybody in order for us together to make the life of women and girls better and to ensure that the vision that is enshrined in the Sustainable Development Goals is attainable, especially by those girls and women who live at the bottom of the pyramid, because we should not leave anyone behind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, last year, UN Women Japan office has been initiated in Tokyo. So the women's empowerment, the circle of that and the effort, having this Japan office as a hub, I hope it would have a very positive ripple effect to us all. So now, upon the opening of WAW, the national soccer team represented, we have a video message from Homare-sawa. Please look at the screen. Congratulations for International Women's Conference WAW 2016. Hello, my name is Homare-sawa. Question is, what is the driving force that you did not give up in pursuing your dream? Of course, my teammate, my family, many people have supported me. And because I had the existence of these supporters, I was able to pursue my dream. And in pursuing my dream, there are a lot of hurdles and difficulties. But the driving force is simply, I love soccer. And I had a strong passion. And having a goal, having a dream, for me, is the biggest, I think, driving force in pursuing this effort. What kind of advice were you being able to be provided from your home doctor, gynecologist? Well, since I was 20 years of age, I had a basal body temperature measured every day. I need to know about my physical body. I started from there. And in the future, when I retire from this professional sport, I was hoping that I would be able to get married and have a child. And this is my dream. So every year, I had a checkup at this gynecologist. And I also consulted my doctor. And there are a lot of pills and women hormones and those things that I've consulted. And if there is any question in yourself, is there any puzzling things, I had asked my question to my doctor. So after retiring from my professional sport, I wanted to have a child. And I also have consistently consulted my gynecologist doctor. And it was a very candid relationship that we have had. So in order to be at the forefront of field, the existing home doctor was very big. Yes, I would say yes to that. Because I had visited this gynecologist doctor, but I also had a second opinion from different gynecologist doctor. And of course, one opinion is important, but I think it's important to have a second opinion as well, listening to two different comments from different perspective. And having asked the same question and they come up with the same answer, it convinces me. So I think, well, especially women, especially young women, when you're young. You have resistance to go into a gynecologist and you may feel shy, but that's just a fringe of a time being shy. Maybe you can find your disease, it's your own self-management, and unless you're healthy and sound, you won't be able to pursue what you really like and what really drives you. So don't be complacent to the fact that you're young, so you're not going to be affected by any disease. But maybe once every year checkup is important, and you need to consult your home doctor. That's, I think, is important. What is a necessary scheme for the Japan national soccer team to continue shining? Well, each of the effort is also very important, but I think from my own experience, the World Cup, winning the World Cup game in 2010, and also the medal that I won in the London Olympics in 2012, I think with the result and the track record, there are a lot of interest from the media, and we are going to be under the spotlight. And we can still continue on shining as a national team in Japan. So I hope that, I know it's a little hard at the moment. They're facing difficulty now, but I hope that they could be a strong national team once again, and will be able to have shown a track record so that many people will be interested. Well, in terms of women being able to be empowered around the world in Japan, I hope that there will be a lot of fruitful outcome through this international conference. Thank you very much for my participation. Ms. Sawa, thank you very much for your video message. We appreciate it. And now, we would like to move into the second panel. Well, in 2020 at Tokyo, you know that we are going to host the Tokyo Olympic here. And before that, this year, many of you may be sitting in front of a TV screen for quite a long duration of time. The Olympic and Paralympics was hosted in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, and we felt the sport as being something that's very definitive with our livelihoods. So the panel is sports and women. So we'd like to focus on this theme. We have these 4 top athletes here on the stage in order to pursue this discussion. So I hope you will relax and enjoy this panel. So already many of you know all the members here today, but each one of you, if I may have the opportunity to introduce them. First of all, on your left, sitting right next to me, is Miss Kaori Icho. Is a wrestler, Miss Kaori Icho. In Athens and Beijing and Rio de Janeiro, in 4 consecutive games, she won a gold medal for 4 consecutive Olympics. So the Olympic is held every 4 years. So it's 16 years in total. Since I was 20 years of age to 32 years of age, I was able to win the gold medal. Wow, that's quite amazing. Well, in October, you have been awarded a special People's Honor Award, and at this age, in only 32 years of age, you have received a 4 purple ribbon from the Emperor of Japan, 4 medals of purple ribbon. So that's quite amazing as well. So thank you very much. And now I would like to introduce Ms. Sae Tsuji. She's a track and field athlete. So she has been very active as a handball athlete, and she also participated in the National Sports Festival. She joined Nippon Sports University, and she also has switched over to the Paralympics. This track and field, and at Rio de Janeiro's 400-meter, she won a bronze medal. So quite wonderful. You switch over your sports, and I think that was a lot of hard difficulty for you from the handball to track and field. Yes. I was doing 2 sports at the beginning, and I have changed over. And you have a very strong, I think, mentality. I wasn't sure if I could keep up to it, because there are a lot of hard-working practices that you need to go through for both sports. So you have to make a decision either or. So that was the difficulty that I have encountered. And next, swimmer, Miss Mayumi Narita. Thank you very much. Athens and Beijing for Paralympics. She has won total of 20 medals. 20 medals in total. as a swimmer. Wonderful, wonderful achievement. 20 medals in total. So you have retired from professional sports. You have retired from the sports, excuse me. But this Rio, you have this New Japan record and New Asian record. Now you are executive board member of the Tokyo Organizing Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Games. Executive board members, you're very busy now. Yes, sports, and you are in the executive board member, the operation. Yes, I have a fulfilling life, I must say. So you're enjoying your life. That's good to hear. And now, last but not least, in terms of weightlifting, I was watching a TV and I was really putting my strength into it. Let me introduce Ms. Hiromi Miyake, a weightlifter. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. And London Olympics, silver medal, Rio de Janeiro, bronze medal winner. So now she's belonging to Ichigo Lifting Company. So she's not as an athlete, you're also functioning as a coach as well. Yes, a very small coach. I'm still an athlete, so I do not have the leisure of time, but next year I would like to study being a coach and being a mentor. So I would like to do this going forward.
ストロベリーのイチゴではないんですけれども、イチゴという会社は不動産の会社をしているので、ちょっとご
Ichigo doesn't really stand for strawberry, although it's the same sound. It's a real estate company. I saw on TV that you lifted 81 kilo, 107 kilos. I actually lift 17 kilos, barely. So I really don't know how you're doing, especially your third time. We saw you sweating as well. So today we welcome athletes who will speak not just about what they do professionally, but also in their roles as women. Because we don't have too much time, please be proactive and don't be shy. We have a few points that we would like to discuss, very interesting points actually. During the first Olympics, that was in 1896. The first Olympics were held in 1896. No women are allowed. 100 years after that, more than 100 years after that, 45% of all athletes, that is 4,700 women, participated in Rio this year. So until only recently, women did not represent their countries in the world of sports. Depending on the type of sports, we still see limits on women's participation, fewer sports activities, opportunities. Some countries and cultures make it difficult for women to participate in sports. So today, in today's panel, we would like to talk about the environment surrounding women athletes, issues that are unique to women as well. So, in the world of sports, I would like to go to Ms. Narita first, who is the most senior member here. I think, if I may say so, there are fitness differences. Levels of fitness vary by men, vary by gender. Muscles vary by women. Are women and men treated equally? In terms of swimming, there's not much difference in terms of the ratio between men and women. But it's more difficult. It's not about gender, but the fact that we have disabilities make it difficult for us to practice swimming. I go to practice at a private swimming club, but 6 places didn't allow me to do so. And even though there are swimming athletic centers that for people with disabilities, it's hard to get there. So the first obstacle was your disability, and once you overcame that obstacle, did you see a gender barrier as well? At least in the Paralympics, disability is not an issue. The second step is we want to practice a certain sport, but there are not many coaches who are women to begin with. But the swimming club which accepted me, all coaches are men. But they've never questioned my ability, despite my disability, despite my gender. There's a very rigorous training that I go through. Not in my case, so you never saw gender bias. Not in my case. How about Ms. Icho? I heard you had a hard time because of in the field of wrestling, there is a gender difference. Of course, we're fighting. It's a type of a fight that we have to do. Women are inferior to men in many ways, but on the other hand, we're more flexible, we are more tenacious. It seems that men tend to give up more than women, but women have got, I think, to the grit to go through with it. So you have the tenacity or the grit. That's right. Now, between men and women, there is some difference that can be felt possibly in the field of sports. And Ms. Miyake, you're a coach as well. So you're an athlete, at the same time being an athlete as well. You're also a manager and coach and athlete. I hear that as a woman, you're expected to play many more roles. Do you mean as a coach? No, not as a coach. What I mean is that women are less inclined to be seen as an athlete. Do you think, is it different? There's a difference between coaching men and women. We have different physical abilities between men and women. Strength, for example, there's absolute difference in terms of strength that we exercise. What we deal with is a heavy, very heavy weight. We're not against other people. So in terms of absolute strength, the ability to carry a weight, men are superior, can do more. But that's how we base our training. With that assumption, we plan our training. We have completely training modules. Women practice with other women. So do you train women differently in terms of weightlifting? I've never coached a male athlete myself, but my father is a Ms. Male, of course. My father has coached. When I first coached women tend to fluctuate in terms of their emotions. Men may have a spontaneous ability to lift weights, but women who take few days off, the muscle immediately changes. But I thought after lifting weights, you have to rest your muscles. Isn't that right? It really depends on the individual, depending on how heavy the weights are. But if you take off 2 or 3 days, your muscle power goes down. So we do rest for a day or a day and a half. But when we do rest, women tend to lose muscle power more than men. So women need to practice steadily. So do you think it seems that who you coach is different between men and women? Right, because of the individual differences, I need to understand the female body. Otherwise, it would be hard to coach the athletes, women athletes. Miss Narita mentioned, and Miss Tsuji, do you feel that there are not enough female coaches? Right. As Miss Narita said, we had to overcome our disabilities. It's important, therefore, to note that there are not enough coaches who understand the unique sport that we are in. In Rio Paralympics, there are not enough female support staff. As you see, I'm missing from the right elbow down. I need help in changing to my uniform to put a tag on. For example, I need help tying the belt behind me. So depending on the type of disability, there are different support assistance that we require. So I would prefer, it would help to have with female support staff. So Paralympians, would a male athlete prefer a male coach? I would think that there are many things that a female coach would understand more about what I go through. This was my first experience as a Paralympian. I was very nervous. I could barely see around me, notice things. My coach is right there. Yoko, could you raise your hand? I was fortunate to have a female coach. We spent a lot of time to communicate with each other to prepare for the Paralympics. So that's really a blessing when you're feeling down. It's good to have someone from your own sex to become positive again. That's right. Without my coach, I don't think I would have gotten my medal. So she's been a mental support as well. Now, female body has to go through something unique to the female body every month, menstruation. So if you're an athlete, and if you menstruate on that day when you have to compete, or a week before, you have to adjust everything to make sure that you will be ready for the Olympics. How do you deal with that?
So being a woman, the very biological, of course, a condition that needs to be adjusted. Icho-san, what do you think, Ms. Icho? Well, for a long duration of time, I was involved in wrestling, but during the game on that day, I never had the time when it was on that day. It was a miracle in a way. But I think the body knows that. I don't know, predicted. It's something very natural, but the body automatically adjusts my body for the game sometimes. I felt that way. But of course, there are some changes and fluctuation of your body, and maybe the day before the menstruation, I tend to increase on my weight, and I feel very uneasy. And after the menstruation, it's a normal weight that I return, and I become very stable mentally. And I seem to really go up in terms of my performance. But that's my, of course, personal experience. But there are some difficulties. Some people have to go through some pain. Some people have to drink some kind of a medicine for the time of menstruation. But it's each of the individual way. So consulting a doctor, or you have your own prescription and find the best way. And that's, as a women athlete, that I think is needed. And I think that is a prerequisite. Well, the women, the hormones, this is very special that is only for women, not for men. Yes, the men coaches, if you consult that, the men coaches will not sympathize with that. So that's a difficulty. So Ms. Miyake, let's say that giving birth to a baby and athletes, every 4 years you have to prepare yourself to the next Olympic Games. And at that time, when is the most optimum time to get married? When is the optimal time to give birth to a baby? You have, of course, biological sort of a time window. So 4 years. What time would you be able to sort of prioritize your own personal livelihood in terms of getting married and giving birth to a baby? So to prepare yourself to the next Olympic. How do you think about this approach? You're 31 years old of age, did you say? 31? Yes, I'm 31. So I have not got married yet, and I haven't given birth to a baby yet, so this is totally unknown world. But the Olympic is one of the sort of a milestone. I thought that maybe I will be married by 23, and then with the Olympic being 23 years of age, I will not go for the next Olympic. So that is the reason why I'm sort of delaying my marriage time. Ultimately, I hope that I would be able to be married by 30, but now I'm exceeding my age of 30, and next 4 years, then we'll have the Tokyo Olympics. So maybe wearing two hats, I think is very, very difficult to do. This is because the practice, you just can't take care of yourself in terms of all the training and practice. And when you have to get married and giving birth, the energy is going to be all disseminated, and you can't be focused. You cannot be focused to the game and the sports. But sometime in the future, athlete giving birth to a baby, and maybe there will be some facility or people who will be able to take care of your baby, and you can really focus on your sport. That will be an ideal situation. So inclusive of that, Olympics, you participate in the Olympics, and this time, there are some people like that. So on the day or after the Olympics, some people have just got married after the Olympics. Yes, this year, many people got married, I think, this year. And as an athlete, this is one milestone for every 4 years. So you concluded one game, so then you can get married. So you cannot do two in parallel. So this may be one of the characteristics, maybe for being a sport athlete. But maybe someday in the future, I hope that you be able to get married and bear a child, and be still participate in the game in 4 years of time in terms of the best condition, in order to bring your best condition for the 4 years. 1 year, you're not going to be able to bring yourself to the best condition. Weightlifting, because we have to lift up the weight, you have to really practice, otherwise you will lose the stamina. So 2.5 or maybe 3 years is needed to get yourself adjusted to be at the peak at the Olympic game. So I have to get pregnant today, and I have to give birth tomorrow, next year, excuse me. Otherwise, I will not be able to be prepared for the next game. So giving birth to a baby is impossible, maybe. Maybe getting married, depending on my counterparty, but I may be able to get married. But giving birth for the next Olympic, I don't think it is possible. So you have to think about your partner as well. So it's very difficult. You have to think about when the partner would like to get married, on what occasion. So preparing the scenario, preparing the environment, being regardless of being men or women, as an athlete, you have to be really prepared. And being single and being married, you need to also prepare the environment. And still, if you have a baby, you still have to put effort in establishing a good environment. So women athletes surrounding you, the environment. So in terms of different wages, Ms. Narita, is there different wages for men and women athletes? No, I don't think there is a disparity. So what is the difference between men and women in being a sport athlete? Well, it's a one-on-one training with my coach on a day-to-day basis. So within that, because I'm a woman, because I'm handicapped, I've never really considered that way. But coach always tell me that if it's just walking by the poolside or coming to the poolside by a wheelchair, that's the only difference, I think. So what? Oh, that's the difference? So it's really simply being handicapped, being on a wheelchair. It's really, I have been accepted as a normal, no difference with any other athlete, I think. That's how my coach looks upon me. Well, today, your talk is very passionate, enthusiastic, and now unfortunately, I'm looking at my time because we are now pressed with time. We are running out of time. We're exceeding the time, actually. And there are many, I think, challenges. The adjusting your hormone balance, or getting married, or giving birth to a baby, and lifetime event. So still, all of you are trying to attain for 2020 Olympics, yes? In 4 years, yes. So what this sports brought to you? I mean, what benefit did it bring to you, participating in the sports? So, Ms. Tsuji, through sports, what did you learn? It's physical, mental. What is the learning participating in the sports? Mentally, it's the value of making the challenge. I learned about value of making a challenge. Well, the result is important, but it's a process of attaining the result. The process, I think, is something that is very important. Even if you fail, you need to make the challenge. And then you would learn from the failure, and then you can make another round of challenge. So this process, I think, is very important. And that's something of the learning this time. What is the most difficult moment for you, and how did you overcome this difficulty? The most difficult moment for me is 11 years since I was 5th grade elementary school to a senior of university. I was playing handball, but I have to give up on the sports, and I could not make my minds up. I love this handball sports. I did not want to leave, but the track and field, I was starting to enjoy it. I wanted to do my best and try my best. I had these two sort of a passion, and it really sandwiched me, and it was a suffering for me. But now, asking myself what I want to do now, I started asking this question in 2016 at Rio, because of the Rio Olympic, and 2020 Tokyo Olympic and Paralympics. And looking at that, I thought I would select track and field over handball. Handball, I can go back, maybe playing the game. I mean, I want to be a teacher, so I could be a teacher and I could own a team. Maybe I could participate in a club team. I could still enjoy handball, but in terms of what I can do right now, I think it's track and field. So that is the reason why I decided to focus on track and field. So it's a switchover, but still you can win a medal is wonderful, I think. Making that switch over in a very short time frame, it was difficult. I must say it was very difficult. So you have absorbed many things. You have learned many things. And I feel that talking to you. And one other difficulties and suffering or I sacrificed is I'm only 22 years of age. I am still a young sort of a woman, maybe enjoying time off with my friends on a weekday, going shopping with my friends, or maybe going to Disneyland even. I had those dreams, but when I have a day off, you have to rest to get yourself rejuvenated or regain the stamina. So you have to refrain from participating in those things. Many of you, of course, want to go out and have fun, maybe, but you have to make sure that you care your own physical body, and that's the number one priority. So is that the case for the other athletes as well? If you have fun in entertainment, you get tired. So maybe about shopping, even shopping. Well, even shopping, maybe having tea with friends, maybe good. But Disneyland, yes, it's tiring to go to Disneyland. Or maybe resting in the morning and then going fun in the afternoon. You cannot, enjoy yourself full day. I mean, when you go to Disneyland, you want to go on to that attraction or this attraction, and you have to really condition yourself, adjust your physical body. I'm 46 years of age, so still young, I would say. But we decided to return to the sports, and many people in the media have said, you are 45 years of age and still returning to the game, and that was the most important caption on the news. But I disliked swimming when I was not disabled. But I started swimming when I was on a wheelchair. What I disliked the most is my favorite sports now. And learning that is because I have met this sports called swimming, and being able to participate in the sports, I met my rivals, and the rivals, we can compete. And the rival has disease, but I want to make sure that I will be able to obtain the gold medals as much as my rivals. And many, many good memories and many thoughts. But now being 46 years of age, with a coach, the goal of being in the final game and having a Japan record-breaking number, and we were able to achieve this. So I think people are human. If you have a goal, if you have a dream, it really does make you generate a lot of power. It's not something that you can do by yourself. It's a support by the others, which enables you to participate in this kind of a sports.
That's really wonderful. That's really great. Now, Miyake-san, Miss Miyake, through sports, what are your beliefs through sports? I think I learned manners, how important it is to say hello to people, and also the importance of planning. You have to plan to achieve your dreams. There's a lot that I learned from athletics. When I first met Miss Icho and Miss Miyake, I was so surprised how thin you are. Not true, not true. And Miss Icho, you said you try to be feminine in your daily life. Did I say that? I probably did. Whether it may be wrestling or weightlifting, it's very combative. It's a male image. It's a male sport as an image. And we are really slaves to our muscles. We are always thinking about our muscles. But once we are away from that, I would like to enjoy fashion as a woman, eat out as well. I have all those interests. When I first met you, I thought you might be a lot more muscular, not too fashion inclined. I thought you might not be too interested in fashion. But through sports, through athletics, do you think you are more aware of your feminine side? And I see you smiling, Narita-san. So we do muscle training. I think we all love to must train. And you mentioned fashion. I wear a size 19 for my jacket, and my skirt is 19. 19? Does it exist? It does exist. Especially your muscles, or it's my upper biceps. My biceps are all tight. If I put force in it, I think my jacket will rip. My mother told me this morning, next comes size 921. So there's not many clothes that would fit me. That's hard. So more the reason why you want to. Oh, and by the way, can you see my earrings? It's a orange wheelchair earring. You all look good. You're all stylish. You're all slim. This is a surprise, really. Maybe you're more conscious about style as well, and maybe that's what you gleaned from sports as well. Now, Miss Icho, what did you learn from engagement with your sport? Well, I think sport made me, athletics or wrestling made me. When I was small, I was able to meet this sport that I was able to continue. And thanks to the coach who shared the joy of wrestling, and my peers who went through really rigorous training with me. And in my life, I think I learned what's necessary to live my life through wrestling. I think I became stronger through wrestling as well. Hearing all your statements, in order to live through society as a woman, there are some things fundamental. Ordinary women like myself, we have work, we have possibly family. While at work, we might have to act more masculine, and we have this dilemma of striking a balance between who we are and how we act. Perhaps you're an ultimate example, and I think we got many pointers. And how was that? Let's hear reactions from the audience. I think we're all encouraged, emboldened by what we heard. It's actually, we're 7 minutes past the scheduled time, and there's a reception afterwards. I think it's time to wrap up. Final words from Miyake-san. A message, final words to women in Japan and the world. Thank you very much for this opportunity. There are more women medalists now than men in Olympics. Women are stronger, becoming stronger, although there are differences in strength between men and women. There are things that women can do that are unique to women. I would like to work hard to create a society which balances the two. Thank you. I believe in the strength of women, the power of women Tokyo will host Olympics, Paralympics in 2020. Many athletes will convene. I want them to feel that they would like to come back to Japan again. I want the Paralympics to be a special experience for everyone who would like to come back to Japan. With your support in the audience, and I would like to make Paralympics in Tokyo a hugely successful one. I'll be 50. I won't be, will you be 50? You won't be competing? I'll be 50. However, Ichiro, the baseball player, said he will compete until, he will play until 50. Well, because I'm a woman, just joking. I want to harness women power around the world. Thank you. Thank you very much for being with us during this session. The world is not necessarily friendly to women. The workplace is not always friendly to women. But through what I do in sports, I want to appeal to the world what women can do, our strength. And those of you in the audience, I know you all have strength, competencies, what you're good at. Let's all work, do well in what we do. Thank you. Despite the shortness, brevity of the session, thank you for being with us. I've had many experiences through my sports. I would like to raise awareness as an athlete, and I hope to resolve the issues in my way. Thank you. And thank you very much for attending this session. A warm round of applause for everyone, to the 4 athletes. And I would like to wrap up the session with that note. We will close the public forum of WAW 2016. I'm Maoko Kotani, MC. Thank you for your attending.
ありがとう。いやー、いえいえ、という間で。言う？